Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. Both Mom and I are really excited that you can join us today, and we're excited we have Master Nick Eagle on with us today. He's an enlightened master, but he's far from the mold of quiet Buddhist or Hindu guru. So though he meditates daily for hours, lives in high states of consciousness, can at will achieve a state of oneness or nirvana with the universe. He sees himself as a warrior against the self-delusional darkness that prevents people from living up to their highest potential and experiencing the divinity within themselves. His fierceness is his mission, has led him to stand out away from the traditional image of teacher and master. With his long beard, he may look the part, but his approach to bringing people to enlightenment is a rigorous adherence to the principles he espouses in his book, Golden Laws of Enlightenment. It's demanding fealty to one's highest self, resisting the temptation to believe or indulge in anything that does not serve. Possessing a PhD in philosophy, he is a certified yoga and meditation teacher, Reiki and Kundalini master, as well as a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, black belt, and world titles. Nick prepares people to work with enlightened plants, facilitates ceremonies, and teaches people how to be spiritual warriors at his Eagle Vortex Sanctuary in Sedona, Arizona. So, welcome, Nick. We're super excited for you to join us today.
Happy to hear. Honored to be here.
Yeah, so can you tell us a little bit about your journey and about your book and all things you?
Oh, where to begin? There's been many journeys. It's been a long path, that's for sure. My first awakening was in '05. Prior to that, I lived in a state of panic and much fear, was never confident, and never got anywhere. But I saw in people when I'd see confidence, I would know that I could do that. I just had to figure out how. I as we all know deep down that we are connected and we are one. And I always saw that. And I knew, as we all know deep down, that it takes work, it takes effort to become something. And we if we lack guidance, we're looking for the easy way out. We don't want to put in that work and effort. And then we get into this world of pretending that, we were born with gifts and we were born special and other people are too. And it's all nonsense. We are one. We have the same challenges, same opportunities to rise above and overcome, and it takes effort. And on my first awakening, that is when I owned all of that. I owned that I lacked guidance. I haven't put any effort in. And I knew that I would have to do so to get to somewhere and to really be special and uh, find gifts and be talented and all of the above. So I vowed on that day to do everything that I could to operate at the highest levels, knowing that that would help me with my confidence, not knowing that it would take me to the spiritual world at all. I never planned on having a man bun. I promise that when this happened 20 years ago. And it's and just operating at the highest levels just brought me more and more into the spiritual world. I ended up developing my confidence, and I wrote a book. My first book was 100 Kicks in the Ass, A Guide to Gaining Confidence and Reaching Your Full Potential. I was doing jujitsu. I was a personal trainer. I was more of a motivator and someone who would kick. I still kick in the butt a little bit now. I've softened my teachings slightly without losing truth, though. And as I wrote in the back of my new book, The Golden Laws of Enlightenment, little did we know my first book was a guide with modern sacred practices that took me to my first full chakra Kundalini awakening. That was in about 19. And from there, I just started absorbing more and studying, and I had no idea what Kundalini awakenings were, but I started looking into it and studying Buddhism and metaphysics and just going deep. And I wanted more, and I wanted to leave behind all my fear. And it happened. And it happened in Costa Rica about 4.5 years ago now. And that is when I left all fear behind. I put truth above all and was greatly awarded with this new awareness and abilities and psychic powers and all of the above. And That is when the Golden Laws of Enlightenment came to me, and I spent the last 4.5 years. 3 months after it came to me, I was selling all my houses in Las Vegas, and I was living in my land in Sedona right now. And I spent the last 4.5 years building my awakening sanctuary, getting my PhD, and writing my book.
Well, that was a busy 4 years then.
There's more. There's more if you want it, but I think that touches on a lot of the the path.
Yeah, and it's interesting when you start having these awakenings, and I love that you're coming from this place of truth. So, can you talk a little bit to everybody about what that means?
Yeah, for sure. So once I started getting better at jujitsu and stepping into confidence, I put myself out there as a confidence coach, and people started coming to me with not just anxiety and confidence issues, but depression, addiction, all of the above. And I was really stepping into this role as this healer and guide and someone who could help people. But I wanted to find the best information. And I started reading all the self-help books out there. And all of them that I read, and I read a lot of them, I saw through them. I saw people telling people what they wanted to hear opposed to what they needed to hear to sell books and gain followers. And there's a big problem with that. When you feed darkness, when you're comforting darkness, you're feeding it and you're becoming it as well. And all these books were gimmicky, so I set out to write my first book from inside, finding the truth inside of myself and finding real answers that would really help people. And I traveled the world, spent over 100 hours on planes and trains. I backpacked Europe, and I put this book together. 100 Kicks in the Ass, it's called, but it's a guide to have Kundalini awakenings. Again, none of this was planned. It happened, but it's beautiful that I found these answers without a guru or a guide that we can all find inside ourselves. It's really neat. I've never studied that. When the Kundalini awakening happened, it was the first time I sat lotus for more than a few seconds in my entire life. It's the first time I put my hands to prayer position. I did a form of holotropic breathing, which I didn't know was a thing. I did about 10 different ancient kriyas, including squeezes, the breath, tongue to the roof of the mouth, eyes to the middle of the forehead. And after it happened, violent shaking. I was shaking violently, and I thought that I was gaining energy from somewhere, and that's why I was shaking. But years after that, and when I was reading every Kundalini book out there, I come to find that the shaking is another ancient technique to help induce these states. I'm doing all these because I was tuned in. I was leaving behind the fear. I was seeking truth. So I was rewarded. I was connected. I was listening. I used to say, God showed me, but more than anything, it was me making these calculations to enter these advanced states of answers and sacred teachings and healing. And after it happened, I looked at my friend and I'm like, what was that? And he said, I think you just had a Kundalini awakening. I'm like, what's that? I didn't even know what it was.
So you had
It's
to
funny
go and study.
when you talked about the kick in the ass. I so many times on my travels, and I know Kimmy's too, where we sat back and went, "Okay, Spirit, just give me a kick in the ass. Let me know what I'm supposed to be doing right now," sort of thing. So when you said that, I thought, so true, because
I
it's
like that. If you seek them, yeah, you're getting places. You want
yeah,
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you're asking because you want to be led to where you want to go, right? But you want
Yeah.
Spirit to make you know
And
that
it's
you're getting the
effort.
right messages, right,
It's
of where you're
effort.
traveling.
It's effort. It's taking care of this. It's being disciplined.
Yes.
It's going outside. It's doing the things you need to do to operate at the highest levels. And yeah, I spent the last 20 years of my life putting this together. And now I offer my enlightenment protocol, which is my gift to the world. That's on my website, nickeaglemystic.com. Please go there. The average person will find about 100 things in there. You don't have to do them all right away, but I recommend going through there, finding a couple things to incorporate into your routine. I have a morning routine. I have food protocol, exercise protocol, wind down, sleep. And I just released this amazing video Kundalini warrior wake-up movements. This is important. Very few of us wake up as we should. Most of us jump on our phone, eat breakfast, go to work, and slam caffeine. That's no way to operate at the highest level. That's a way to just plug into a system and, get things done from, not the highest place.
Right.
When we wake up, the number one thing I recommend for everybody to do is do a little key lime or lemon juice with water, and immediately go outside and get some sun on you. Reset your circadian rhythm and wake up. It's going to help you sleep later on that night too. Ground. I go outside nude every day. I get sun on my whole body, and I do these Kundalini movements. You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to, do a heavy lift or push-ups and squats and all that, but you want to do some movements to energize your body that's been stagnant and not moving all night. You want to move the fluids and the energy and the blood and the oxygen, because that's what will wake you up and help detox your systems as well.
Yeah, I agree with that, because we don't move enough. I think we've become a society in a lot of ways that we sit so much. And I mean, there is a time and space for that, I think, but I agree with you of getting up and getting your body moving and, getting that energy back into your body that's been stagnant all night.
Move it or lose it.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Yeah. You don't take care of yourself if you don't. If you're not conditioning everything from your joints and ligaments and tendons, and not just building muscle, but conditioning all these different joints and doing squats so your knees don't hurt, and you stay mobile, and that's why we stretch. That's why we do yoga. I was never connected to that before the awakenings. With why it's important to do these things. But once that fear is gone, you take good enough care of yourself, you understand the importance of moving. I don't move because somebody told me to move, or I'm doing somebody else's teachings. I know what my body wants and calls for. And my exercise protocol is doing a full body workout every 2 to 3 days. Again, not crazy, super heavy weight, but you need to work out your body often. And if you're listening and you're tuned in, that's what it wants. That's how it's going to stick around and last. And that's how you're going to be hiking when you're 80 years old.
That's the truth. My mother, Kimmy's grandmother, she's 93, and she has a walker, but she still says to us all the time, "I try to walk at least 7 times a day,"
Sure.
and that's why she's 93 and still moving around. It's good to hear her say it, because it's good information for her grandchildren and everybody else to hear too, the importance of movement, and it keeps your mind alert as well as your body.
Yeah, everything. When you're moving the blood and the oxygen, of course, that's how you wake up. Droop around and go to your car and drive, and go to your office chair, and you're never going to wake up. That coffee's not waking you up. The coffee's shrinking your pineal gland and destroying your adrenal glands and your connection, and causing much harm, harming melatonin production. It gives the appearance that you're more awake because your heart's beating faster and you have anxiety now, and I'm against caffeine, if you haven't noticed. It's so destructive. It's so destructive.
Yes. Well, what's the benefits between the key lime in the morning with your water?
Opposed to, well, this flushes your system. The key lime has a higher vibrational quality, is what I sense, than limes and lemons.
Okay.
They're more potent and powerful. So the organic key limes, they're very dear to me. And celery juice too. I do celery juice after I do the movements.
Okay.
Celery juice. I just did a video about celery juice too, comparing it to ayahuasca. If you're in a sacred ceremony with this sacred drink, you don't just chug it down. I do what I do with ayahuasca is I do celery juice. I hold it to my head and I take in the spirit, and I hold it to my heart and I cherish it and welcome it and send it loving vibes. It cleanses. The key lime juice is the best in the morning. yeah, to flush your system out. That and yeah, and the celery juice is, and then when you go back through with the celery juice after you do some movements, 20 minutes to an hour to 2 hours later is when I recommend the celery juice. The celery juice, it's just, again, after Costa Rica, the first full chakra Kundalini awakening, I built some awareness, and I remember I just bought a black vehicle. I didn't like black anymore, but after this one, I couldn't wear black anymore. I had to throw away or give away to the shelter, and dye everything that I had was black. But my awareness was just on another level, and I could hold foods, and I knew just what they would do to me, and that's what the celery juice. I know what this is going to do to me. It more than inflammation, more than anything. It clears up that inflammation, and inflammation is the root of almost all disease. Putting things in us that our body, doesn't process well. We want to be putting things in us that gives us the best fuel. And this celery juice helps with the inflammation and flushes out your glands and all of your organs as well.
Yeah. And do you think that the more that we become enlightened and do some of these practices that you're suggesting, that we can feel into those kind of things? Like we can feel into the foods when we pick it up and be like, yeah, this has
Oh yeah.
absolutely no vibration at all. And yes, this is like going to be life-giving and life-sustaining.
Yeah. Yes, everybody for sure. I'm working on a post right now talking about 3 ways to combat fatigue, and the third way is I say put fruit in one hand and put a steak in the other, and really sense, yeah, the vibration. Number one, this vibrant this vibrant fruit, that's alive, or this rotting flesh. And yes, there's many amazing nutrients in meat. And there's a lot of good stuff in there. It's one of the most nutritious. It's more nutritious than the apple. It has more good things, but the apple doesn't have any bad things. The steak has lots of bad things. It doesn't. I know science right now says that it doesn't rot in our system, but it does. It leaves behind this residue. It's very hard. Meat and all animal products, they're very hard to digest. And I know after that, I'd hold meat, and I would know that this isn't getting through me easily.
Mhm.
There's no way. And
So are you vegetarian then?
yeah, I vegan plus honey.
Okay.
Yeah, I have been for a long time. I've wanted to go even before my Kundalini awakening. I didn't want to eat meat. None of us, let's be real, none of us want to eat meat. We would rather eat some fruit than a steak, if we could keep our vibrance. And, a lot of people eat the meat and the fats and the animal products to gain a little extra muscle, but we need to get out of that mindset too, because this extra muscle, I'm still 195, and I've been vegan. I barely eat anything. We don't obtain energy how we think that we do. I take some amino acids, and it's keeping my muscle on. So, and yeah, I'm still 195, and I wouldn't mind losing a little bit more muscle than I have. It's not going anywhere because I know how to energize my body and eat the things that's in the meat. And in my protocol, it has everything you need to be a successful vegan. And what I was getting at too, we don't want to eat meat. Nobody really wants to. Deep down, an animal had to die. We're putting that above, going deeper and finding things that we can have instead. And I failed veganism many times. And even most of the biohackers out there, well, one of them's vegan, and me and him are two of the leaders in the world in aging, by the way. But a lot of the biohackers and people in that community, and Joe Rogan, a lot of his guests, Huberman, they all promote meat because they have failed at becoming a vegan. Everybody fails at it. So many vegans try it and they fail. But my protocol, I finally figured it out. The first 3 times I failed. One of them was after the first Kundalini awakening as well. One time was before that. I made it 8 months. I lost all my muscle. I was like 175. I looked like I was when I was a teenager. before I was like before puberty, and I was white and I was this death. I didn't want to eat meat though, but then I had to go back to it. And after the Kundalini awakening, I tried it again and failed. Um, but now I know how to do it. I stuck with it. And after this one, I had to really know and go deep into things and find out what I was missing. And it's the B12. B12 is a big one, iodine is another one. Uh, Minerals is a big one too. At my protocol, I have an amazing mineral that comes from like a 50 million year old rainforest that I recommend. Uh, you got to do minerals, especially if you're not juicing. Especially if you're not juicing vegetables, there's amazing minerals in vegetables. I juice vegetables every late afternoon as well. But I recommend everybody out there to just, check out I got it. I figured it out. I figured it out. So few people have. And I know most vegans look like death. And, they're eating bread and they're eating nonsense and they're still eating some of the bad things. We need the to operate at the highest levels, it's fruits and nuts and properly preparing your food too. They need to be, I use a pressure cooker for the veggies, for some veggies and potatoes, but raw is amazing as well, but you have to condition your body for them. It's a long detox process if you've been eating meat and animal products your whole life. And most people fail at being a vegan because they get into it for a couple months, they don't get anywhere because they didn't stick with it long enough too.
Yeah.
True. That's like anything, right? In life, you have to stick with it in order to get the progress with it too. I was looking at you on YouTube, and I was interested because I saw you were saying the sun doesn't age you. Do you want to?
Obviously, overexposure. I mean, if you're burning, the burning is one of the worst ways to age. If you burn, I get sun every day. Um, 44 now, no wrinkles. It's I don't like that this world has scared people away from the sun. And you need a consistent layer on you too. And again, that's going to prevent burning as well. Burning's the worst, but one of the best rejuvenate ways to rejuvenate are getting sun. That sun is life. It gives us life. And again, this is something that anybody could build their awareness to. Once you start doing the spiritual things, that's what being spiritual is more than anything. It's doing what you can to operate at the highest levels. I didn't know that when I set out to do this. I didn't know that that's what being spiritual is. Being spiritual is being connected. I mean, technically everything is spiritual, but if you're doing spiritual practices, everything you're doing is to connect. And when you're connecting, you're building this awareness. So everything that I say is truth in knowing. I'm not copying any teachings or anything that I've read. I know now what that sun is doing to me when I go outside and sit in it. And sun gazing too, I highly recommend. There's so much power and ancient wisdom gained when you sun gaze. The last 30 minutes before it sets, the last 10 to 15 are when you can spend more time staring at it as well, or staring in the direction too. It's something that you have to build up your tolerance to a little bit, but we take in so much life and energy from the sun. This world is selling you products, and they're saying nature and the sun are bad because they're selling you stuff. Nobody's telling you these things because everybody's selling something.
Yeah, that's truth. That's very much the truth.
So in your book, do you talk about some of this and give tips to people that they can start embracing this kind of thing into their lives?
My protocol has all of that. The book is more of my stories of my spiritual awakenings with some very advanced teachings, and it's actually designed to awaken people, and it is. I'm getting stories of people having their first Kundalini awakening, and it's very powerful. I put it all on the table. Everything that happened during these awakenings, what I went through in my past, and there's so much effort went into this, and it's created and designed to help people have these awakenings and leave behind that fear more than anything. My first guide was 100 Kicks in the Ass, a guide to gaining confidence and reaching your full potential. I never understood the role that confidence really, we all do. We know deep down that the power we gain from being confident. We might not ever think that we're going to have a Kundalini awakening or end up being some guru, after leaving it behind. But that's what happens. And when I wrote that book too, I never knew just how powerful confidence is. And when I did my master's program, my thesis was titled, I set out as my thesis to prove the importance of confidence. I ended up titling my thesis, Mastering Confidence is the Beginning of the Spiritual Journey. And it is. It's mastering it is. That's when it begins for all of us, because you learn what you are. You finally take the responsibility for your being, and you know that this is all your creation. It's God doesn't hate you. Luck isn't a thing. There's all the blame and excuses. It's all lies. It's all on you. And once you own that, that's true repentance. You're rewarded, and that's when you start this spiritual journey. That should be everybody's number one goal of their life every day. And I recommend affirmations, one of my most powerful and favorite ones. I have tons of affirmations in my book too, a whole chapter dedicated on them. I will, with every breath, I'll become more confident. Ooh, say that every morning and embrace that. And don't just say these words, though. You can't just say words. Never just say words with nothing behind them. All your words need to mean everything. The number one golden law is truth above all, and your words must mean everything. They must hold this power. And when you say these affirmations and you're stepping into this power, and you say in the morning, you repeat it a few times, with every breath, I will become more confident. You just made a sacred vow. Now you have to do that, and you own that, and you keep that thought with you. And you'll just see your power continue to amplify, and that confidence will come. You're saying everything. I'm not going to shy away from situations. I'm not going to shy away from confrontation. I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm not going to fear this world no more, because I know just how big of a distraction, how much it holds me back. And we started embracing this and knowing this. We all know we can be confident, as I did, as that child who faked a heart attack in 4th grade to get out of answering a question in class. That kid who had to wear special shirts in high school that didn't show his sweat. I was constantly sweating and in this state of panic. That kid always knew that there's no possible way that I have to be like this. It's not because of the stars. It's not because of my parents' any trauma. It's not because my dad yelled at me. No, it's because of my choice that I am making in this moment. That's what repentance is. True repentance is. Step into your power. We all know. I'm not telling you anything you do not know. I'm telling you to run with it. Don't just accept things of how they are. Stop giving up. Stop throwing in the towel. You are all powerful and all capable. And you cannot lie to me anymore. I see through it. I've been there. It is time to step into your power and learn what you are. Put in that effort. All effort is greatly rewarded.
I love that. Because I think I think that the followers are really going to like that as well, because that is such a strong message, right? And when we start
they know it.
Out, yeah.
They know it. We all know it. Go for it. Go for it. Stop being comfortable. You might be in your place. Like, this is what I see with a lot of people who come to me too. I still have advanced people coming to me, only advanced people coming to me. But the biggest thing I see with them, and even my first 3 private retreats I had here, all of them are warriors. And this is a place for warriors to be at peace and do some training to develop your superpowers. And all 3 of them were warriors, but all 3 of them admitted to me, in ways, and it's something that we hit on, that they're plugged into this world and they're comfortable and they don't really need to go for it anymore. They don't see the benefit. They don't understand the benefit of doing so. And they're hanging it up too early. They're in this job and they plan on working this job and then retiring. They don't really ever need to be confident anymore. That's what is in your heads. Why do I need this? Everything's just fine and okay. Whew. Let's set the bar above, what's okay and fine. Why?
Right.
This is such a waste if you don't. Keep going. You go get it.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of comfort in being uncomfortable because it's pushing us, right? It's making us go that extra little bit of a mile to even find out who we are um as we're going along. Like I know for me, like as a kid, I was fairly shy kid. And now so it's kind of funny that this is part of what I do because if I would have said that, but I just went for it because it was like, this is something I want to do. I want to share these things with people so that people can learn how to
That's
live
what
their
purpose
best
is.
life.
Yeah, purpose is gaining as much knowledge as possible and giving it back to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
So go get it. And I want to touch on something you just said right there, something that I don't like at all. When somebody says when somebody's with their child and their child's acting shy and they say, "Oh, he's just shy." Ooh, I don't that's dark magic. I don't like that. You're suggesting he's not lacking guidance. You're not taking responsibility for your child. He's shy because you haven't taught him confidence. How dare you blame your child for acting that way? That is something I don't like. I remember the last time someone said that in front of me and it just hit me and I went back. I'm like, "Whoa, my parents did that." And I'm like, "Whoa, this can't stand anymore. I can't just stand by and allow you to pretend that your child is shy because he was born shy." There's such a lie. That's so much darkness. Like you're casting that spell upon them. It's like when people lack guidance and they're told that they have all these mental disorders and they have to take a pill every day, and the kid takes a pill every day telling itself that it's broken and he can't heal or overcome on its own. This is dark stuff. It's such dark stuff. Anything that suggests that somebody can't be confident and step in their power if they take better care of themselves and put in more effort. There's no limit to it. There's no limit. What are you talking about?
That's true.
It is true. So what would, besides the morning routine, if you were to tell people what's one thing that they should do right now, what would that be?
Change your priorities. Change your mindset. What are you prioritizing? Chasing money, grinding, so one day you can do something? You can do it now. We need to prioritize taking immaculate care of ourselves and understanding organic food costs a little bit more money, but you're probably eating too much. So cut back on the food and get organic. The little extra time that it takes to prepare your own food. I don't like people touching my food anymore. I give it love. I get organic food, I rinse it, I wash it, I give it my love. And I have this better relationship with it. It's more of a welcoming process into our bodies. It benefits us more. Another reason why I have the energy I do. It's changing this mindset, this grinding mentality, and prioritizing the wrong things. And it's usually chasing the money. And it's another thing people prioritize that they shouldn't is being with their children. That shouldn't be the priority. The priority should be helping your children become the best version of themselves. And that's not just spending all of your time with them. Nobody's malicious, but people are thinking quantity over quality, especially when it comes to children. If you had them, a little too young or before you were ready and before you could teach confidence, you're thinking if I spend the more time with them, they'll love me more and they'll come out better. And that's not the case. You need to go to the mountains. You need to take care of yourself. You need to see the benefits. You need to prioritize taking care of yourself more than anything, above all. And knowing that just the better you take care of this how better off your children are going to be if you do so.
Mm-hmm. And then they see you doing that as well and are inspired by that, right? They're just
Leading by example.
exactly.
Yeah,
And then it builds on their
you
character
have to.
they want to be. So I think that's a very important message to get out to people.
Yeah, I always said, let your children be free to do their own thing. Let them find it about themselves. Quit holding on so tight, because all you're doing is diminishing their livelihood and their excitement in life. you just have to let them go and let them embrace life around them. That's always been my motto. Some people used to say, how couldn't you just move away from your kids and things like that? Well, they have to learn, they needed to learn that
But
they need
we
to do
definitely
these
need
things.
we definitely need to teach them how to go about the world, though.
Yeah.
We can't just let the kids play in the street.
No.
We got to teach them. No, you play in the yard. If you cross the street, you look both ways. We have to teach them how to go about life. And confidence is the biggest one. You know, and too, like we don't hold ourselves, we don't set the bar that high when it comes to that much at all. And even teaching our kids things. And there's much truth to that. They have to learn some things on their own, but a lot of people also use that as an excuse to not put in the work to preventing some of these mishaps. We shouldn't be setting ourselves up to fail. And I never like words like being vulnerable. It's or go ahead and try something. It's okay to fail. We can set ourselves up better for these things too. And again, and it's confidence more than anything. If you're sending out a confident kid into the world, they're not failing. Even if they're not taking first in everything, they're not failing. They're not making a fool of themselves or tripping and falling or getting hurt or getting into trouble and doing things that are going to affect their entire life. Especially like getting into trouble. I hate it when people say teenagers will be teenagers. No, what is that? Oh, please go a little deeper than that. They're not getting into trouble and doing things that might affect their whole life because they're a teenager. They're doing these things because they haven't had the proper guidance. Yeah, they need a kick in the butt to go try new things, but you need a proper setup as well and how to go about that. Teenagers aren't, again, he's just shy. Oh, he's just a teenager. It's just it's darkness and blame and excuses. It's because you're lacking that guidance. You need to own up and take more responsibility for what's going on with your children when you're saying these things. But it's like everybody.
Yeah, it's true.
That is the number one thing that I teach, and it's a chapter in this book. And one of the reasons why we suffer as we do, we need to stop having kids at young ages. That's the number one thing. Kids need to stop having kids. We need to go to the mountains first. Stop getting married and having kids in your 20s. And the people who have done that, it wasn't wrong. We're not mad at you. Nobody's mad at you because you did it. But you need to teach people, this would have gone so much better. My child would have suffered less if I did this in my 30s. We need to be more honest about that. Yes, it's the greatest thing that ever happened to you. But if it happened in your 30s, it would have been even greater. Suffering should never be for anything. It's all lessons. We need to teach people to go to the mountains in their 20s before settling down and getting married and having kids, because Hollywood and everybody's teaching you that if you're not married with kids by the time you're 25, you're gonna grow old alone and die alone. And we got to get out of that mentality, because that's why we're suffering. We're having kids before we have anything to teach them.
That's great.
That's true.
That is so true. It definitely is. Well, and I love this because I think this is really, people are going to listen to this and be like, oh, it's a wake up call, right? Because I feel like a lot of our lives, we just go through lives with our eyes half shut. And, like you said, when you're building this confidence and you're going out there and you're experiencing these things, it changes your life and it changes the energy of your life.
Yeah, and another two more trigger warnings here. So, number one, you shouldn't be saying, and this is a big trigger one. I lost lots of followers when I did a video on this one, but your kids shouldn't be teaching you anything. And you shouldn't be having kids to learn and grow with them. And those are two excuses that most people use. We have to get out of that mindset, be more honest about it. You don't have a kid when you're lost and you're scared and, okay, I'm going to have a kid and we'll get through this together. No, you're putting all that darkness on your kid. You're not learning to, no, you got to stop doing that. And yes, there are beautiful things that we can learn. Most of us can learn from children, but we need to question ourselves. Should we be learning these things? Of what? How to be more connected and how to be more innocent? Should we be learning those things? We should be learning them from you too, not just children. We crave that because we lost it, and you don't have to lose it. And if you lost it, you can always get it back.
That's right.
So kids are beautiful things, and we appreciate that. We appreciate the innocence, and they haven't been molded and manipulated from the world quite yet, and they're connected. And yes, we love that, but we shouldn't be learning that from them. We should also be teaching the world this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And we should be teaching them, right?
Yeah, to keep that, to hold on to that.
Exactly.
And how, when they're doing it and telling them just how special that is. Don't lose this. Don't lose this. Another post I was working on today is about the fire in your eyes, and something I ask everybody who comes to my awakening sanctuary, because my clients from the last 15 years, the biggest thing I always inspire and motivate them, bring this fire to their eyes, and I see them again and it's gone. So now I ask everybody who comes here, when they complete a request to stay, one of the check-off boxes is that you'll keep that. If any fire is brought to your eyes, you will keep that with you and bring it out to the world. You won't allow this world to extinguish it. That's what I ask of people who read my book as well. I ask them, whatever is gained to not be lost. I know that most of this world is disconnected and very few people are spiritual and operating at these high levels and have this fire to their eyes and this energy. But that shouldn't take it away from you.
Right.
You should decide to step into this power. And when this fire is gained, you need to keep it. And a meditation practice that I have for everybody as well is to, when you crave this fire, number one, only meditate when you're well rested and there's not a lot going on in chaos. A lot of us want to meditate after work and nothing's going to happen. No magic is going to happen there. I recommend, especially if you're working during the week, take a day off, sleep, rest up. When you're fully restored, that's the best time to meditate. Do a hike on top of a mountain. That's when you're going to be connected and get answers and heal and all the above and work some stuff out. But a meditation you can do while you're in that state, and if you want more fire brought to you. Now, just thinking about somebody who once brought much fire to your eyes, just thinking about them and welcoming their energy, it will come back. You don't have to be around them. This thinking about that energy and welcoming it back into your life, and it will come. Same with nature. When you visit a beautiful waterfall or you do a beautiful hike, and you can sit in a meditation anywhere. I could do it right here and remember being at the top of the falls, Nevada and Yosemite, and this powerful waterfall, this gushing that water, and ask for and talk to the spirits and welcome this energy back into you, and that fire will come. You don't have to go back there, but you have to remember what happened when you were there. My Kundalini awakenings, I can induce one in any time I want. But if I have the right shaman or an enlightening plant or the right song, or if I'm up on top of a mountain, driving back into Sedona, going to Whole Foods in Sedona sometimes induces my Kundalini awakening. I don't. How funny is that? There's a restaurant too that has a vortex on the patio that I just sat there for the first time in years, and it happened, and the manager remembered it happening the first time too, and I gave him a book. It was neat, but you don't have to be in these places. You don't have to be around people to charge you. You can do this on your own. When I watch superhero movies, when I watch one of the Marvel movies and the Immortals, I think they're called. Yeah. It's a name like Immortals, but the ones that have been around forever, that one really charged me. I was having like a Kundalini awakening through like the whole thing at the theater. So that's what we are. It's thoughts. It's welcoming this energy. It's understanding that we can decide to be anything in any moment. We never have to
Right.
feel bad. We never have to feel bad. We can scroll on social media and see war. We can see animals. We could see, animals being tested on, like the horrible things, and we never have to feel bad at any moment. And when you're allowing yourself to, it's not the people. It's not the people. It's not what's happening in the world. It's all you. It's all your decision. If you want that fire in that eyes, you can keep that fire in your eyes. Stop allowing this. This is what we need more of for us to raise our. It's for us to ascend, and for us to step into this world where there's no starving people and there's no war. We need to do this. The most powerful people who are deciding to take immaculate care of themselves and put in this effort. We need those people to keep this fire at all times and understand that it's in any moment, no matter what surrounds you, you can be that light. Just by thoughts, just by welcoming spirit or source or God. Welcome this energy, connect. Be part of that, and you can be that in any moment, and you can become this great shaman and healer, and you can really help people. People need to see this. People need to feel this. They need to feel your energy. You can hold this. When you hold this energy, you can walk by people and change their entire existence. I make eye contact with people in grocery stores now, and they start crying. I can connect with them. It's so powerful because I see through it all, and I'm deciding to be this person. I'm not hugging them, saying everything's going to be okay and comforting their darkness. No, I'm looking into their eyes and I'm seeing through the lies that I once told, knowing that they don't have to be like that, and I can connect. I can telepathically connect with them and look in their eyes, see into their soul, and tell them I see through. It doesn't have to be like this. And it's such powerful stuff, and we can all be this person. And it's so beautiful. I love that I can do this now. We need that. We need that. We have to stop comforting and feeding darkness and tiptoeing around darkness. It's okay to call it out. Call it out. We need to. Look at people, call it out. You don't have to be like that. You don't have to carry this energy. Stop patting them on the back for it. You're comforting dark. You're becoming it. When you comfort darkness, you become darkness. That's the problem with the spiritual world, and even ayahuasca circles and medicine circles too. Everybody just goes there to cry and feel bad about things. And most of the shaman I know in America, they're all so dark. They're sick. They're getting sick all the time. They don't understand why, because they're just comforting darkness. They're not calling it out. They're not teaching people their power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. There's so much information you've given to everybody. Can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Yes. Again, nickeaglemystic.com.
Perfect.
NICKEAGLEMYSTIC. Everything is there. I have a beautiful long biography if you want to learn more about my awakenings. Obviously, my book. I recommend following me on social media, X or Threads. I post different stuff there, and then Instagram or YouTube and TikTok. I post on all of these accounts. And if you're vibing with my teachings, if you like what I've heard, if you like what you've heard today, I highly recommend getting my book. I put so much work into it. It's so good. I do not waste people's time. I think you understand that. And then at the website is my Enlightenment Code Protocol. Please look at that. It's my gift to the world. I also have a beautiful Kundalini page. I documented a full chakra Kundalini awakening, and I dried a wet sheet in freezing temperatures in the mountain behind my awakening sanctuary this last winter, and I videoed it. So you can find that video there, like the monks do in the Himalayas. No training, no practice. I've been in some ceremonies where everybody's freezing and I'm having my Kundalini awakenings and I'm shirtless. I knew I could do it. And I went on. The day before I did, I said, I'm doing this. I know I can. No training, no experience. It's the Tumo breathing. There's all these Kundalini practices to regulate your body temperature. I sat there in 30 minutes with a wet sheet and dried it and was unfazed. And it's pretty amazing. That was my first demonstration. The next one, I'm going to hook my brain up to an EKG brain monitoring device and prove that I'm entering quite certain hyper gamma and maybe lambda when I go really deep. And I might be the first person to document that.
Oh, wow.
So
Cool.
exciting times ahead. Yes, I
Yes.
love that. Yeah, I love that I can, prove this in ways more than anything, because there's a lot of people out there misleading you and pretending, that claiming enlightenment and these Kundalini awakenings, and a lot of them have just had a small taste, like I did in '05. I had a small taste. I never put myself out there as a guru or a guide. They don't know. They think that they've, unlocked everything, but I still see the fear in their eyes, and their practices suggest otherwise, especially people, claiming this, and, they've yet to experience abundance, and there's a lot of people out there who will mislead you. I almost don't even like calling me, a guru or a Kundalini master or anything like that, because there's so many people, especially in America, especially white people in America. There's so many people that I had to give the right presentation, but I have, and I got you. I'm not. This isn't a show. I promise.
Well,
Okay.
and we do appreciate you being on with us and sharing your knowledge with everyone. And if you had a final thought to leave with everybody, what would it be?
I know I gave you some fire. I know if you listen to this, I gave you some fire. Grow that flame. Go grow that flame. Pass this fire on, not just the fire that you have now, but get more. Get more. This is what purpose is. This is the secrets to longevity, living a long, healthy life, being mobile and giving back to the world. We all want to give back. And few of us even know where to begin or where to start. You start at my enlightenment protocol, you start with the little fire, and you keep growing that flame. Do not let this world extinguish it.
Beautiful.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being on with us. We really do appreciate you sharing space with us. So thank you so much.
Satnam.
Thank you.
Yes. Putnam.
Um,
And everybody else, we will see you on the next one.
you will.